Cody is on vacation for a few days. Me and the children are at home and we're going to attempt to run the homestead while he's gone. Oh, she's dirty this morning. Oh my goodness. He's normally in charge of all the animal chores, so I have a few more jobs on my list. Can we do it? This video is sponsored by Thrive Market. Cody is meticulous about the chores being efficient and easy. He gets pretty grumpy with janky setups because he's very inventive and he makes it his duty to solve problems and make sure that everything runs smoothly. So I'm not worried about the chores. He's also really good about doing as much stuff ahead of time as he can and making sure that the feed and the hay are stocked before he leaves. So I basically have to do the barest necessities. Milking Maddie is the biggest thing for me to conquer. Maddie is a really big cow and she definitely prefers Cody over me, but yeah, I'm not too worried. She's right here. He's move out of the way. Good morning, Maddie. Oh, she's dirty this morning. Oh my goodness. Maddie, what were you doing? When it's so rainy outside, she gets super muddy and it's really hard to get her clean. Last night I separated Holly, which I was kind of afraid would be a rodeo, but because of all the rain, they were up here already underneath the lean-to, so it wasn't too bad at all. So all in all, chores are going pretty good by now. Holy cow, that's so much. Ugh. I think I need to work out more. Yes. Milking is always the part that I'm the most nervous about when I'm doing chores, but it went flawlessly this morning. Come on. All done. Maddie, come on. Maddie, come on. No, come on. Come on. Go. 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 Well, thank you. I have quite a few plans for today, and probably my plans are slightly optimistic, but I'm gonna try anyways. Have some things that I'm really excited about, but first I've got to get some food into my kids and also get some school done with them. I'm really prioritizing school right now because gardening season is starting and I can't homeschool and garden at the same time, so gotta make that priority. I'm rewarding myself for a flawless milking session with a collagen and raw cream London Fog. And then I'm going to make some crepes for the kiddos. I like to try to do special things when Cody's gone. Me and Cody like to give each other a break. We've found that it really helps our marriage when we can have some individuality. It just refreshes us and gets us excited about life. So when one of us is gone, taking our personal time, the parent that stays home tries to make it fun for the kids too. While I get started with breakfast, the kids are gonna do their morning chores. This is so helpful for me, especially at a time like this. Plus, it teaches the kids responsibility and important life skills. I also love that it gets the kids outside in the morning. There's something about going outside first thing that really helps start the day off well. It's been an hour since milking time, so it's time for me to let Holly out to her mama. Thank you to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. If you live far away from a health food store like we do, or are on a diet, or just want to get a really great price on groceries, you should definitely look up Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone, with guaranteed savings on every order. In fact, if you find a lower price somewhere else, they'll match it. Some of the products that I get over and over again from Thrive Market is organic King Arthur's flour. I get their whole wheat flour, their bread flour, and also their all-purpose flour. I use that for feeding my sourdough bread. Cody was obviously in the cart again this time. He got a bunch more marshmallows. Camping season's coming up. The weather is beautiful outside, and these are at least a little bit better than
the real marshmallows. I like to splurge sometimes and let my kids taste foods that they hear other people talking about that I don't actually buy very often. I really like how Thrive Market has healthier swaps for some of those foods, and I can let my kids experience them and taste them without all the junk. And the cool thing about looking for products like that, or anything to fit a certain diet you're on, is you can filter products by things like gluten-free, vegan, keto, and a lot more. We also go through a lot of collagen. We use this in smoothies, in our morning coffees and teas. Also, beef gelatin, grass-fed beef gelatin, is something that I think is really great for my kids. I make Jell-O with this, and I also add this to my yogurt. And Beekeeper's Naturals Immune Support is also a really great throat spray that got us through the flu that we had recently. Go check them out, and if you join using our link, you'll get 30% off your first order plus a free gift worth up to $60. Go to thrivemarket.com/morethanfarmers. The link is in the description box. And in addition to our 30% off discount, Thrive Market is running a friends and family sale through April 24th, which makes it a great time to sign up. Chores went later than normal this morning because we're doing them ourselves. So breakfast is a little bit late and the kids are very hungry. My 3-year-old is getting super grumpy. So I have to really make tracks here. I am going to make sourdough crepes with some berry sauce and fresh whip. I've been making these crepes lately because they take a ton of eggs. Super good way to disguise eggs. Probably every single Homestead YouTube channel right now is featuring like creative egg recipes because everyone just has so many eggs right now since it's spring. I'm gonna set this whip into the freezer for 10 minutes before whipping it. This is the trick that will make a world of a difference with how your whipped topping turns out from fresh cream. I have fresh strawberries and raspberries. They're not fresh, I guess, they're frozen, but they are from our garden. I'm trying to use up all of our berries so that we can refill with fresh ones in berry season. And I still have a ton of berries to go. I'm gonna put a splash of juice onto those berries just so that they have something to cook in. Frozen berries are gonna release a ton of juice, so you don't want much, but just a little bit. I also just put in a pinch of salt, and then I'm gonna let these cook down. They will cook down in like 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm going to add in some cornstarch and honey. Cody got me this nifty egg gadget. I actually, if I'm honest, am not a gadget person. I do not like one-purpose gadgets around my kitchen at all. I was having this issue with my eggs getting old because I would always just use the eggs off the top of the basket, and so the eggs in the bottom of the basket would never get used. By the time I was like, oh, I really need to be using the eggs in the bottom of the basket, they would be old and really runny and just borderline rotten. And so I finally allowed Cody to get me this gadget, and I will admit, I do really like it. You just put your fresh eggs in the top, and then you pull one out of the bottom and all the eggs move down. I mean, that's pretty cool. I will have Cody link this in the description box for you guys if you're interested in trying out something like this. I'm gonna use Farmhouse on Boone's recipe for crepes, sourdough crepes. It takes 8 eggs for one batch. Not only does it use up a lot of eggs, but it's also very rich in protein, which is very, very important to me to get protein into us in the morning. I actually don't usually make anything sweet for breakfast. We usually have potatoes and eggs and burgers and sprouts and things like that. But like I said, I am trying to do something extra special this morning, but this also is a very protein-rich breakfast. This is sourdough starter that's nice and bubbly from sitting overnight. I will say this recipe has gotten a little bit runny for me sometimes, so I'm not gonna put in the full amount of milk. This could just be a difference in how me and Lisa Bass from Farmhouse on Boone, how watery our starter is, so. No. I'm just putting about a tablespoon of cornstarch mixed with water in here. And I'll just thicken it up a little bit so that it doesn't make your crepes soggy.
Mommy.
I'm gonna add a little bit of maple syrup to this.
Can I have one of those to it?
After I'm done, okay? There you go.
I get 2?
Yep, I have a lot to do today, so I'm gonna bust out the paper plates. The first crepe never turns out as good. I don't know why. Come for breakfast, guys. I am just going to give the kids a tiny bit of school today because I don't have very much time. With Cody being gone, I have a ton of things I need to do. So I'm just gonna give them something simple. You can see our books are very thin. We're almost done. The kids are going to be learning about sharks today in their science. I'm just going to put a video up. Like PBS has some super great documentaries on sharks and whales and all kinds of animals like that. While the kiddos are finishing up their science in the living room, I am going to tackle all these dishes. This is kind of one of those things that we don't show much in our videos, but there's just dishes all the time. When you're cooking from scratch and growing all of your food, there's just so much cleanup that goes with it. So today I'm going to validate all of you homesteaders who are constantly cleaning up messes. It's just part of the job. So there's a little break in the rain. It's still like misting and kind of nasty out here, but it's not pouring. So I'm going to do my least favorite job, or the job that I'm looking forward to the least, I guess you could say. I'm gonna fertilize our evergreens. We have a big row of evergreens out along the road to try to help with overspray from the fields and just to protect our farm. And I want to fertilize them with this fertilizer that we got from Berlin Seed. So I'm just gonna quick do this and get it over with, and the fun stuff can come later. Something died in that bag. It smells so bad. You're supposed to water this fertilizer in, but it's supposed to rain. And so I'm just going to sprinkle it down, and there's so much water here in Ohio that I'm not concerned. It smells like 1,000 fish died in this bag. Hopefully it won't attract animals. So the job that I was most excited about doing today was actually planting my broccolis and cabbages that I picked up from a greenhouse. I was gonna plant those into the raised beds today. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. They are so, so beautiful and definitely ready to be planted out, but there are flood warnings again, and it's raining, pouring rain again. And so I don't think I'm gonna be able to go outside today. The awesome thing with the raised beds is that everything else outside is flooded, but the raised beds would be totally fine to plant in. But I'm not either willing to go out in the cold and wet and be miserable. I'll probably wait till tomorrow to do those. But in here, I have these tomatoes that I must have planted too early because they now need to be repotted because they're massive. It's just a little bit too early yet to plant them outside. So I'm gonna transplant those into these pots so that they don't get too root bound. The other thing that needs to be done is I'm going to plant some squash and cucumbers. I just decided that part of my strategy this year for trying to get on top of the squash beetles is to plant the cucumbers and squash out as plugs so that they are a little bit more established, hopefully, before the bugs come. That's something a lot of people told us. I don't know if it's gonna help, but I'm gonna try. I know that cucumbers and butternut squash, they don't love to have their roots disturbed in transplanting. So if you do this, you have to be super careful not to mess with the roots much at all when you're transplanting them. So we'll see if this works. We had a reader tell us that cross-country hybrid works really well for her. Thank you, Amy, for the tip. I'm going to try these. As most of you know, if you've been watching for any amount of time, I have a horrible problem getting cucumbers and squash to grow because we have so many squash beetles. So we're gonna try it. Diamant is another one that I'm gonna try, and then also homemade pickle. Here I've got some butternut squash seeds that I saved from last year. I don't do a ton of seed saving yet, although it's definitely something that's on my bucket list, but I did do butternut squash and also patty pan squash. So I planted more tomatoes than I actually need, so I'm probably gonna be giving some of these away, see if people want them because I just have too many. I'm only going to do 10 tomato plants this year, so I have to choose wisely. I think I'm gonna do 5 Amish paste since that's my favorite, and then I'll just do a few other varieties for fun. As a content creator, I'm constantly seeing people within my niche doing things very differently than I do, and I get intimidated sometimes and question myself, especially in times when I'm feeling overwhelmed or busy or like a failure in some area. Recently, I've had moments where I've fallen into this comparison trap, which causes me to wonder if I'm doing enough. I see other creators who have hundreds of seedlings in their greenhouses or have no-till wood chip gardens, or others who know all the things and can explain the science behind everything they do. I'm constantly having to filter through people's opinions, their praise, their criticism, and then decide what I want to do for myself. I'm really thankful for input. It's really helped me to grow as a gardener and also as a person, but it does take effort to sort it all out. The most comforting thing for me when I'm struggling to make a decision or to even just stand on a decision that I've already made is to recognize that there's more than one way to be right. There's more than one way to grow a tomato. There's more than one way to be self-sufficient and raise food for your family. I've chosen the minimal route because it's what I can handle at this stage of my life, and that's okay. I don't have a ton of seedlings under my grow light. I don't grow a huge variety of veggies in my garden. I keep things very, very simple, but in the end, I'm still growing most of my family's food for the year, so it's a win for me. The reason I'm saying all this is because I have a hunch that some of you beginning homesteaders might be overwhelmed and intimidated as well with all the information out there. And I just want to encourage you and give you permission to make homesteading and growing your own food look the way you want it to look. Choose methods that seem doable for you and for your particular set of circumstances and stage of life, and then be okay with it. Stand on that and don't worry about fitting in or being the best. Me and the kids are on our way to town right now. Before Cody left, he gave the kids each a couple dollars and told them that they can buy something at a coffee shop. So I just figured the kids were so good this morning, I may as well reward them and take them to town for their drinks. May as well make the most of this rainy, dreary day. I would also like to go for a walk at the park. I can't really go on my daily walk with the kids, with just me and the kids at home, because I can't really leave the house. But I'm not sure if the weather is going to allow for us to go walk at the park. We shall see. We are back from town. We're hungry, so I'm going to make some really quick pizzas. I'm going to keep them really simple. I would like to have more protein on my pizza than the kids want, so I'm going to fry up some hamburger with shiitake mushrooms, and I will put that on my pizza instead of just cheese and pepperoni. These are homegrown shiitake mushrooms from a friend of ours, and they are so good. These cast iron skillets have been in the oven at 400 degrees for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so preheating. I'm just going to drizzle some olive oil in them and spread the sourdough starter around, sprinkle it with some salt and Italian seasoning, and bake it again for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. And then I can just put my toppings on, bake it again until everything's melted, and you've got a pizza. So this next pizza, the last one, is going to be a little bit different. This is our special dessert. I don't make this often, but it's super fun when I do make it. I had this idea a few weeks ago and I just tried it. I hadn't actually seen anybody do it. I was just like, this might sound good. We went to a pizza shop and they had like the cinnamon roll sticks. So what I do is I just make this like I would the other pizzas. I just put the sourdough starter onto the pan with the avocado oil. But instead of using avocado oil, I'm going to put some melted butter on there. This is some colostrum butter, so yellow. I'm going to actually sprinkle just a teeny bit of salt on this since the dough isn't salted at all. Not much, just a little bit. And then after you have the butter on, just take cinnamon sugar and sprinkle it on heavily. And then I just bake this like I do the normal pizzas, just until it's nice and crispy. And then I do a little bit of powdered sugar with a tiny bit of raw milk to make a glaze, and I just drizzle it over the top. So good. This one's ready to put toppings on. You don't want your crust like fully crispy before you put your toppings on it. It literally takes them like 4 minutes max until they're set and ready for the toppings. Pepperoni is a delicacy in this house. We almost never have it, but I every now and then grab some for pizza. While the pizzas are finishing baking, I'm going to quickly whip up this glaze. Dash of vanilla, a little bit of powdered sugar, and a couple teaspoons of milk.
It's time for dessert. I'm just gonna slice these into kind of like sticks. It's honestly so good. So easy.
We finished off the day with hot tea and a movie. We watched Peter Rabbit, which was super funny. We all really loved it. The next day was beautiful and sunny, and I finally got my broccoli and cabbages planted out into the raised beds. My raised beds have been a godsend this year. Everything else is flooded and muddy, but the soil in these beds was perfect for planting because it drains so well. This was all I planned to film for this video, but there ended up being one more adventure to be had. Needless to say, I feel very attractive. The kids came in and told me the Woodpecker Hollow sign out by the bees is covered in bees. So obviously there's a swarm going on. I called Cody. He said usually bees are very calm when they're swarming, and that I should just pick up handfuls of them and put them into a swarm box, and then he'll take care of them tonight when he gets home. It's about the last thing in the world that I would want to do. I'm terrified out of my mind. I've never done anything with the bees, like nothing at all. I am just taking one for the team, and I'm just going to do my best and call it good. That's all I can do. And Cody said the same thing, just do your best, and it's fine. I have been chased by these bees before. When I was mowing the lawn one day, they chased me, and I was so scared. I jumped off the lawnmower, and like the lawnmower kept going. It was positively terrifying. So I'm just going to go and face my fear and do my best.
I feel like I need to clarify here that Michelle volunteered to do this. She called me and I told her what would need to be done, but that it was up to her if she wanted to do it or not. It would be a bummer to lose a swarm, but not the end of the world. She said she wanted to do it though, and I was really proud of her for it. While I've got your attention here anyway, I bet you were wondering how my vacation went. Well, whether you are wondering or not, I'm going to tell you. It was one of the best and worst vacations of my life. I was headed to Florida to go deep sea fishing with my uncles and cousins, but my flight on Thursday got canceled and I ended up having to sleep in the airport.
This is my bed for the night. My flight got canceled and I got rebooked on one leaving really early in the morning. It wasn't worth going home, so get to hang out here at the airport all night. I hope I can get at least a little bit of sleep.
That was the worst, most uncomfortable sleep I've ever had. I made my flight the next morning though and had fun hanging out and finding lots of shark teeth at Venice Beach on Friday. Saturday morning, we headed out to go fishing. Because of the high winds the previous 2 days, the waves were fairly high. The boat rocked and rocked and rocked and rocked. About an hour into our 9-hour excursion, I got sick. Really sick. I heaved once over the side, and soon after I went to heave again and passed out. When I woke up about half a minute later, I had no idea where I was or what was going on. I ended up laying down and sleeping on and off on the floor and then on a skinny little bench for the rest of the trip. A few of the others got sick as well, but they still managed to catch some fish. We made some delicious fish tacos that night. I still had another day to hang out. I made sure I didn't miss any of my daily runs, and all in all, I really did have a good time. My flight coming home went fine. I was glad to be back, and I was very impressed with all that Michelle accomplished while I was gone.
Are there any holes in these gloves? Calm isn't really the word that comes to mind. They're not calm. I mean, they're not calm by any long shot. I'm out of here. Are they following me? All right, so plan B, I am going to put another frame in the swarm trap back there, and I'm gonna take the lid off, and I'm just going to see if the bees will go into the box with all the other bees that are already in there. I don't know why they're not calm enough for me just to drop them in the box or brush them in the box, but I'm just gonna put this in there, and hopefully the queen is in the swarm trap already, and then the other bees will follow her in there. I don't know anything about it, you know?
The swarm ended up leaving, which was a bummer, but I was really proud of Michelle for trying. I checked the hive after I got back, and there are still a lot of bees in there. I removed the winter insulation, added a few frames, so right now, they're looking good. Next week, Holly will likely be going to her new home. We've got some baby chicks coming in the mail, and we've got a surprise new animal coming to the farm. You won't want to miss that, but until then, you should watch this video next. Be sure to check out Thrive Market during their Friends and Family sale. Use our link for 30% off your first order and a free gift.